What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Bill Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC and the entire basketball community. If you want more basketball content, tune in to Basketball Conversations every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Central Time. This is where we discuss basketball-related topics, news, debates, and everything else in the world of basketball. All right, you guys, let's just get down to business here, shall we? So, the big news coming out of the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the forward for the Milwaukee Bucks, is now the 2019-2020 NBA Most Valuable Player Award winner. With this precedented award, Giannis has become the 12th player in NBA history to win consecutive MVP awards, joining the likes of Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Moses Malone, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Tim Duncan, Steve Nash, LeBron James, and most recently in this decade, in the last decade, Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors, who won it back to back. So Giannis is already in an elite, status in the NBA in terms of winning back to back MVP awards. But with Giannis, he isn't interested about that huge milestone of his great basketball career, because obviously, of course, of what happened in the playoffs, of how his team flamed out, you know, in the second round against the Miami Heat. And right now, the Heat are up 2-0 against the Boston Celtics. And right now, the Heat are playing like a championship team at this point. But I'll make that video separately later on. But what I've heard from some different reports is that Giannis is basically declining his award, which obviously you can't decline no award, obviously, but he feels that way because his team did not get to the NBA Finals, and that I totally understand. I totally get it. It's just that you worked so hard to get to this point, and then not to get to the NBA Finals and not even make it to a conference finals is just the most disappointing thing, because they were the best team in the NBA during the entire stretch before the pandemic hit. And then once basketball resumed, unfortunately, the Bucks couldn't get it going, and they just couldn't find that switch. They're gonna have to obviously make some moves to try to improve the roster. Now, I'm still in deciding about if Giannis is going to stay in Milwaukee or is he going to leave as a free agent. Because now, the big question is going to be, will he resign with the Milwaukee Bucks? Now, he did talk about, through TNT, that he had a good meeting with the owners, and he talked about the team, about what happened during their playoff run and what they're going to have to do to improve their chances of winning a championship. Now, if the Bucks play this right, Giannis is going to be guaranteed a max contract extension worth approximately $220 million throughout the next 5 years if they decide to offer him to him this offseason. Now, he is on the final year of his contract. So if he declines the contract, that means he's going to leave as a free agent and can go anywhere he wants. Now, previously, I said that Giannis is going to leave because I just don't see him, staying with the Bucks long term because of the salary cap uh, restrictions that they're going through right now, and plus the huge deals they gave to both Eric Bledsoe and Chris Middleton. Now, what the Bucks are gonna have to do to improve is their backcourt. They're gonna need a guy that's really not just a pass first type of point guard, but a guy that can get you, guaranteed buckets. Which is why I'm saying that I think trading for Chris Paul could be one of the keys to their solutions. Now, it is worth noting to the fact that Paul's had injury issues over the last couple of seasons that have really hurt you know his postseason aspirations. But when he's healthy, he's still one of the best, pure point guards in the NBA. Now, what we saw with OKC pretty much proves that Chris Paul still has a lot more left in the tank. But the question is, can you make sure you can manage Chris Paul at the right time to where he's not going to get hurt? That's going to be the big question. And I don't know if the Bucks are willing to, deal with that. Now, you're going to have to find a way to improve the roster. You're going to need another scorer on the floor that's going to be consistent enough to really, help Giannis off of double teams, because I'm just not convinced that Chris Middleton is that guy. Because Chris Middleton, in my eyes, is a third option at best. He's not a second guy that you can rely on to get guaranteed scoring, and his inconsistency really has hurt the Bucks over the last couple of years. And right now, with Giannis, he's thinking about it that, listen, I'm still young and still at my peak, and I can still make improvements to my game. But these opportunities don't come by too often, and we have to take advantage of the window of opportunity. Because considering the fact that the Eastern Conference is going to get much more difficult, because you got Miami just on the about 2 wins away from getting into the NBA Finals. They're going to be a title contender next season. You got the Brooklyn Nets coming back with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant in the mix. Okay, you also still got the Celtics you got to deal with. Toronto's still going to be a threat. All right. You don't know what's going to happen to the Philadelphia 76ers considering their coaching situation. But the bottom line is that the Eastern Conference right now, as we speak, is very much a deep conference at this point. You got several teams in the mix that are making their cases of wanting to win a championship. Now, with that being said, of course, Giannis is going to have to improve his long range shooting. He's going to have to learn how to be more efficient with his offensive touches. The point, always taking it to the basket, is a good offensive tool to use all the time. But obviously, when you get older, you have to change and adapt your game at this as he gets older. Now that's something he's going to have to worry about a little bit later. But I'm talking about in the present form, right here, right now. Giannis knows that. Listen, of all the individual accomplishments that he's achieved, nothing is guaranteed without a championship. And I know that for Giannis is that it kills him that he's not continuing in these playoffs and pursuing a championship, because I think that the Milwaukee Bucks right now would have had a good opportunity. But that's hindsight is 2020. The point is this: the Bucks right now need to do whatever they can to try to prove some things on the roster if they're going to contend a championship. All right. Now, congratulations to Giannis of winning the MVP, but it's only an afterthought to him at this point because of how things did not work out. Now, if the Bucks are going to try to do whatever they can to keep him happy, they're going to have to make a roster shakeup in a big way to really convince Giannis that he's Giannis to stay here. All right. This cannot be understated enough. If the Bucks don't do anything to improve the team, I don't care what he says about him staying long term, staying 15 years in Milwaukee. It doesn't matter. So many players have made that same claim before until the organization decides to trade him when their value is no longer subsist anymore. If the Bucks don't do anything to improve the roster, he's going to walk. I don't care what he says. I'm not interested in talking him saying, "Oh, he wants to stay in Milwaukee." No, listen, you got to improve the roster, or he's leaving. All right. I still believe right now that Giannis will leave because listen, if they don't improve the roster, if they don't get to the NBA Finals, there's nothing much the Bucks can do because they pretty much maxed out in terms of what they can try to improve the team on. All right. So that's just what I stand on this. Now, if he wants to stay in Milwaukee, more power to him. That's commendable on his part because there's not many superstars that will stay with their home teams that they were originally drafted to. You know what I mean? It's really rare in this generation of NBA basketball because you've seen stars move to different teams left and right, back and forth, playing this ring around the rosy alphabet soup, situation with all these teams and trying to find the best situation, not just to win, but to win some championships or link up with other superstars. But right now, the Bucks are on trial right now. They have to do whatever they can to keep Giannis happy and convince him to sign the max contract extension. Because remember, it's 5 years and $220 million. That's a lot of money. So you're really going to have to really do a lot of convincing to keep Giannis here in Milwaukee. All right, it cannot be understated enough. If the Bucks stay pat or make any bad improvements to the roster, this is going to convince Giannis to leave. I don't care what he says. All right. I've heard that same rhetoric many times from superstars. And you know what happens when the organization doesn't do enough to improve the roster? They'll take their talents elsewhere because they're not going to commit themselves long term to an organization that's not willing to improve. All right. So the Bucks, you got to do something, man. You got to do something to keep Giannis happy. Otherwise, you're going to kiss your Lone Star goodbye next offseason. I promise you that. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section.